Another way to zoom in on the contents of one or more layers is to Alt-click, or on a Mac, Option-click anywhere on a layer here inside the Layers panel. So you have to have the Layers panel up on screen for this one to work. Turns out, however, that you can get to the Layers panel even in the full screen mode. And so notice up here at the top of this particular composition is this text layer called Observe. If I Alt-click or Option-click on the T, I am going to zoom in on this text like so, and I'm also going to select the layer, by the way, but I don't have to click on the thumbnail. If I Alt-click or Option-click on the name of this vector-based shape layer, which happens to be called Shape 170, at least at the moment, then I zoom in on it. Or I can Alt or Option-click on an empty portion of a layer, such as Elephant right here, in order to zoom in on that layer. Now notice that Photoshop is going to assign a custom zoom ratio, and you can see it down here in the bottom left corner of the screen. In my case, it's 42.08%. Your results will be different because your screen size is different than mine. However, if we're working with a very tiny layer, then if you Alt or Option click on it, you may zoom beyond 100%. In my case, I'm seeing the image at 302.79%, at which point, even if it's a vector-based shape layer, such as this one here, you're going to see big pixels. All right, now let's say I want to see the contents of multiple layers at the same time. Then you press Shift-Alt. That's going to be Shift Option on the Mac, and click on a layer's name. So we're starting with Tiny Leaf, as we're seeing right here. Notice that it's selected. If I Shift-Alt-click on the Observe layer, I'm going to zoom out so that I can see that text and the leaf all at the same time. And notice that gives me a different result than if I were to Alt or Option click on Shape 170. And by virtue of the fact, by the way, that I had multiple layers selected, Alt or Option clicking just selected that layer. If I Alt or Option click again, then I'll zoom in on it. And then if I Shift Alt or Shift Option click on the tiny leaf, I zoom out so that I can see it. All right, I'm going to go ahead and zoom out to the elephant by Alt or Option clicking on it. And I want you to see something here. There's this very little heron over here to the side. I'm going to go ahead and click on that layer to select it. And notice that the elephant, heron, and blueness layers all have layer effects, as indicated by these FX icons. If I click that down pointing arrowhead, then I expand the layer effects. If I click it again, then I collapse those layer effects just for that elephant layer in this case. But I can expand all of the layer effects by Alt or Option clicking on that down pointing arrowhead. And notice that even though I'm doing it for the blueness layer right here, I go ahead and zoom in on the selected layer, which is heron. Now, that's probably a bug. I only mention it because stuff like that might happen to you. But what I'm hoping is that Adobe goes ahead and clears this one up before the product ships. And you can see that I've just done a wonderful job of masking this little bird. All right, so I was saying you can take advantage of this trick in a full screen mode as well. So I'll press Shift F in order to switch to full screen so that all I can see is the image. Then I'll hover over the right-hand side of the screen to bring up my right side panels. And then I'll Alt or Option click on the elephant layer. Notice that it zooms to fit in the entire full screen so that the elephant's face is hidden behind the layers panel. If I want to reveal that face, I would just move my cursors away from those panels. And that's how you zoom in on the content of a layer by Alt or Option clicking on it inside the layers panel. If you want to zoom in on the contents of multiple layers, then zoom on one and then Shift Alt or Shift Option click on another.